Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are here for the very first time, my name is Gretchen, and today I'm talking all about psoriasis. I've talked about psoriasis before on my channel. If you don't know what it is, it's an autoimmune disease. Your immune system starts attacking your skin cells. Disease or disorder? Anyway, I've lived with it for many years. I'm not a medical professional. However, I have a lot of experience with managing my own symptoms. So this is just going to be sharing some tips that I have learned for managing and living with psoriasis so that it is not as much of a burden on my day-to-day life. This is going to be a two-part video. This is Living with Psoriasis, Part 1, Scalp Psoriasis. I wanted to break up scalp psoriasis from the rest of psoriasis because the amount of products and care that goes into both of them is so much that the videos were going to be really too long if I didn't break it up. I wanted to start with scalp psoriasis because I find that more people tend to have symptoms of it, so I thought it would be really useful for people. And also, if you just happen to have dry scalp or dandruff problems, a lot of the tips that help me manage my psoriasis can also potentially help you manage those. So hopefully you learn something that is really useful, or find some products that I mention that you also find useful. And I am not sponsored by any of the products that I'm going to talk about today. I've literally tried tons of products to find ones that actually work well for me. And this is the narrowed down list of ones that I find have made a change in my life and have been really great. So I'm gonna take my hat off. My hair is super dirty. My hair hasn't been washed in a week, which is pretty normal for me because I have really dry scalp. I also haven't done anything with it today. So this is my hair after I roll out of bed, basically. But I wanted to be able to show you what it looks like when it really needs to be washed and when my scalp psoriasis is pretty much at its like most annoying and painful. I don't think the dandruff is really showing up on camera. I thought it might stand out a bit more because my hair is so dark, but if I go like this or when I rub my hands through it, like I definitely get a snowball of dandruff on my pants. Super sexy. Anyway, psoriasis, see if you can kind of see. It's a little harder to see because my massive amount of hair covers it, but if I was to shave all my hair off, you would see psoriasis plaques pretty much dotting most of my scalp. It covers quite a bit of it, which means that my scalp is dry and itchy and very dandruffy and just overall very uncomfortable. First off, I'll talk about what I used to do. What I used to do is use a dandruff specific shampoo like Head and Shoulders, not like the really basic Head and Shoulders, but the really powerful Head and Shoulders, pretty much like the most anti-dandruff type thing that you can get without a prescription, and a liquid topical steroid. This is prescribed to me by my dermatologist, and I used to wear this on my scalp every single day. It's got a little nozzle thing and you just go like that. I'm gonna put the lid back on just like this, and you can rub it in, but it's a liquid topical form of essentially the type of creams and stuff that you'd put on if you had a different type of like rash or psoriasis somewhere else. That way it's easier to get on through the hair. This works really well when you have painful symptoms and you need relief really fast. However, my symptoms would come back worse when I use this. So after about 2 years or so of having to use this every single day of my life, I decided I didn't want to use it every single day of my life, and I haven't used it in almost a year, 2 years or so plus now. Like I just quit using it cold turkey and started to look for alternatives that were steroid and like free of any sort of like heavy medicines or stuff in it. Things that are just a lot more natural and better for using consistently. Blah. So the first thing that I do if I'm having a really bad spout of just psoriasis and itch and dandruff is Tea tree oil. I have this giant bottle because I use a lot of tea tree oil, and I just take the dropper and I put a little bit in close to places there I know I need it the most and rub it in. And I will do this quite a while before I shower, like at least an hour or so, because I think it works better when you give it time to really seep in, and it helps a lot with the itch. It helps break down the psoriasis plaques themselves, so when I'm washing stuff out later, I can get a lot of the dandruff and stuff out. I don't like to use too much of it because I do find it makes it difficult to wash the oils out of my hair, and I don't like my hair to look all oily. But it does work really, really well. And I've been using tea tree oil for years, and usually like I put it on and for about an hour or so I feel like I smell like a koala, and then I wash it out. Tea tree oil. So that's pre-shower. In the shower, I do basically, I have like 3 hair care scalp steps. 1, scrub. 2, wash. 3, moisturize. So number 1, scrub. This is probably the most involved. So I will first off do some sort of a scalp scrub. I've tried multiples. The one that I find works the absolute best for me is the Frank Body scalp scrub. They came out with this maybe half a year ago or so. I want to say summer, and I am so thankful that they did, because it has worked better than any other scrub that I've ever used. See if you can kind of see it. It is like a creamy, grainy, sandy one in texture. It has coffee in it, and it works like a freaking miracle. It is advertised to use for like getting buildup of like product and stuff off your scalp, but it works really well for psoriasis as well. And I think the coffee also just kind of like helps the skin. I'll talk more about that in my second video, but the coffee itself helps. So I use that as a scrub. Sometimes if my psoriasis is really, really bad, I will mix in a little bit of Epsom salt into that scrub. And I will also use apple cider vinegar on my scalp during the scrub phase. Use the raw stuff with the live culture, the live stuff in it. I use it in a bottle that I'm recycling that has like a nice little tip that makes it easier to put on my scalp. And that is pre-wash. I make sure that it has a little bit of time, at least 30 seconds, minute or whatnot, to kind of like really sit and soak and do its job. I will use a little thing like this, which I got off Amazon for like, I want to say $3 or $4, to really scrub it as well. And then it's time to wash and rinse. I have used many different shampoos, and I actually found that the Function of Beauty shampoo works so well for my psoriasis. If you've never used Function of Beauty, you get to choose all sorts of things for it, like what your hair goals are, what your current hair problems are, like is it really thick, is it curly, do you want, do you have dry scalp, do you have oily scalp, do you want it to grow longer, do you want more volume? You can really kind of like pick and choose what qualities you want in the shampoo and conditioner. I obviously have dry scalp, so I mentioned that in mine, and I was really shocked at how much my psoriasis started to clear up after I swapped to the shampoo. So I use the Function of Beauty shampoo, as I just gushed about, and I let that again sit on my scalp for a while, and I use this little scrubber to again really scrub it, because I scrub that out of my scalp. And I also want to make sure that everything has enough time to sink in and work. So don't just put everything on and immediately wash it off. Let it have its time to sit there and let it soak into your hair and your scalp. But once my shampoo and all that stuff is rinsed, I will use the Function of Beauty conditioner and put that on. let it sit and do its thing for a little bit, rinse all that out, and when I'm out of the shower, because I spend so much time scrubbing my scalp, and since I have such a dry scalp, and so I don't have so much of the natural oils to like make their way down and really naturally moisturize and keep my hair healthy, I use a couple of products to really re-moisturize and just kind of help it out a little bit. I really like the Moroccan blow dry. So I use a very, 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 very small amount of this when my hair is wet, and especially around the tips, and use it pretty much from here down. And I also really like to use the Aveda damage control, and that one I'll also use a very, very small amount and help kind of bring it in. Not too close to the scalp, mostly down. And that is what I do. And before I start, it looks like this, and after I wash it, it looks more like this. I would say it is much improved. It feels and looks so much better. What I have done, just to recap, is let it sit with tea tree oil before washing. 10 minutes to an hour is generally sufficient. I scrubbed my hair. I used apple cider vinegar, which is good for both the shine, because it acts a little bit like a conditioner because it's so acidic, and also really helps with the psoriasis. I shampooed and I conditioned and I moisturized, and then obviously dried and kind of styled it, but I was pretty lazy with the styling. Anywho, this works for me, and I've tried all sorts of things, and this is what I found to be the absolute most successful. It helps so much with my psoriasis symptoms. Right now, I don't have the dandruff. All the stuff that was in there, the flakes are gone, and when I run my fingers through my hair, it doesn't snow. Yes. It doesn't itch. I don't have the urge to like itch or do this, which causes more dandruff problems. If you've ever had dry scalp, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if I run my fingers up, the psoriasis plaques are pretty much all gone. They will come back because I'm not in remission, they come back. But for now, for the next few days, I will have a plaque free-ish scalp that doesn't hurt or itch or anything like that. So to me, this has been life-saving. It's made my life so much more comfortable. It is time-consuming. There are a lot of different steps. So if you want to just add one thing, you don't want to do like a whole huge amount of process every time you wash your hair in order to keep like the itch and dandruff down, I would say the one thing to add would be just the Frank body scalp scrub. If I was only going to do one step in this whole thing, I think this is the most bang for your buck. However, I do the whole thing because for me it's worth it, quality of life wise. I know this video is getting really long, so I will wrap it up, but before I go, I just want to remind everybody, again, I'm not a medical professional, and also skin issues and autoimmune issues are weird beasts of a problem, and psoriasis combines both of those. So one thing that will work brilliantly on one person can be totally ineffective on somebody else, because we're all different. Our bodies all react differently with these type of problems. This is what works well for me. Hopefully, if you're looking for some solutions to help you, some of these things will work well for you as well. If you have psoriasis or really bad dandruff and you have found products that work really well, go ahead and let me know what they are down below. If you have any more questions, please feel free to ask them. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Much appreciated. Also, really appreciate it when people subscribe, because I have new videos coming out every single week. Keep your eye peeled for the sequel to this one, Psoriasis Part 2, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!